Hi, hello. So, as I promised that I was going to speak on fire safety assessment in Nigeria, just like we've been trying to create awareness when it comes to CPR. Gafio, my man. Gafio Alpha, welcome, Blaze. So I said I'm going to talk about fire safety today, right? So fire safety assessment. This is something I think should be encouraged. A lot of awareness should be created for in Nigeria. A lot of people don't really know what fire safety means. A lot of people don't know what checking the environment to make sure there is no combustibles. People don't really pay particular attention to fire and fire safety, fire training, and that's why we always have stories of places getting burnt, be it banks, be it what do you call it, shops, be it institutions, to the point that finance office in Abuja at some point got burnt, or Lagos, I can't remember. So a lot of places, get burnt because people don't practice fire safety. People don't practice fire safety assessment, and Nigeria don't have a good culture of health and safety in general, which is what is like the main umbrella, like covering all these safety awareness or safety critical assessments. And I think we should start practicing this, because when fire happens, it sort of burns a lot of things, and people lose their livelihoods. And sometimes, in some cases, people lose their lives to fire. And these are things that could be prevented if the right education, if the right awareness is created. So in as much as we are talking about CPR, we are talking about having a first aid at home or having a first aid in the office, it is also good and important as well for the government to start training people on fire safety, training people on fire safety assessment, checking your environment, making sure it is worthy, it's fireproof to an extent. And all these things go way back to when the building was built or how the building was built. In the UK, the doors that are used in the UK, for example, for most places are usually FD30 doors. They are called FD doors because they are supposed to be fireproof. And that's why they will tell you in the UK, as part of the briefing, is if fire happens, normally the doors will automatically release when the alarm goes. So the alarms are linked to the door stopper. So when the alarm keep going, the door stopper will react to that sound and close the doors. This is like workplaces, but at home, you have to manually get out of the building. And it's quite important that people understand these things in Nigeria, and government creates policies for people to start using all these fire doors in Nigeria. I don't know if anybody even pay attention to fire doors in Nigeria. Apart from banks, where you could easily go and see like fire extinguisher, you hardly see places paying attention to fire. Buildings in Nigeria, I don't even think they have like fire, what do you call that thing? Fire exit signs or fire signs. Like, when you come into a building abroad, you'll probably see, in case of fire, follow this road, or this is the road to the nearest exit. So the UK has made it that even if it is a stadium, even if it is a conference center, even if it is a massive place that a lot of people can converge, when there is fire and there's a need for evacuation, everybody can live there within a particular stipulated minutes. Do you understand? Because fire spreads. So now the way they do that is, after there was big fire incident, I think in King's Cross, that really destroyed like billions or millions of pounds worth of property. And the UK started enacting all these guidelines and all these laws to make sure that people don't make sure that things like that don't happen again. And they started putting things in place to check to check the society, to check the buildings, to check everywhere. So even as a construction company, even as you're constructing a house or constructing a building, all these things are still in place. They will have to put manual fire points. They have to make provision for fire extinguisher. And I'm a fire warden. I've been trained as a fire watchman. I've been designated as a fire warden. And these are things you need to know. And I think Nigerians need to know. So, for every place outside your home, outside the residential place, any place that can harbor, I think, up to 5 people, there's supposed to be a designated first aider. There's also supposed to be somebody that should play a role of a fire warden, right? Or at least somebody that knows how to use fire extinguisher, right? Now, this is not a common training. This is something that a proper trainer, Nigerian government needs to look into how they can employ the services of professional trainers, right? That can either have offices across the nation that companies, everybody, institutions, schools, everybody will send their staff to go and get those trainings. And this is how it happens. This is how people get trained in the UK. You go and get those training, they give you certificates, you can come back to work. Or you invite those trainers to come to your place of work and train your people, and in some cases train the trainer. So you need to know there are types of fire extinguishers. It's not everything that is red in a cylinder that is appropriate to use on any type of fire. There is water, there is dust, there is there's another one that has chemical, and there is also blankets that can be used. So you need to know what type of fire extinguisher. My good friend Nzube just joined. Happy birthday. And he's one of the managers in a construction firm, so he probably will know what I'm talking about. So knowing about fire equipment, knowing where or how to use those equipments is very, very vital. It's very important. Knowing what equipment to use at a particular fire, knowing how to use it, knowing when to ring the fire bell or break the fire point to sort of sound the alarm, knowing how to watch out for fire or combustibles to prevent that fire from starting. These are all part of the training. These are all part of the assessment that everybody needs to be aware of. And in the UK, they usually say there is a liability that falls for the employer, right? But there is also a part for everybody to play, right? You smoke in designated places. You don't smoke in canteens. You don't smoke indoors because it could potentially lead to fire. You dispose of your finished cigarettes or your cigarette waste in the appropriate designated places. You don't just litter it around, which, if it still has a little bit of fire in it, it could cause a problem. You don't leave combustibles lying around. You dispose of your waste, because when you live in a very dirty place and then things can easily turn to combustibles. With little fire, it will burn the whole place down. Then you need to understand how fire happens, right? So fire happens when 3 components are in place. You have the heat, then you have the oxygen, and what's the third one? Who can help me? What's the third thing that makes fire to start? So you have combustible, you have heat, and you have oxygen, right? I don't know if I got it right. This is the triangle that causes fire. When one is out, the fire cannot start, right? When one is out of these 3 components of fire, the fire will not start. So, I think it's ignition, right? So you have heat, you have oxygen, and you have ignition, if I'm not mistaken. So you have to make sure that these 3 things don't come together. So if you come into an office, you have to make sure it's well ventilated, but at the same time, you make sure there is no heat, right? All the electrical equipment has to be tested. So it's a health and safety encompasses a lot of things, right? So for you to stop fire, you have to think so many things. You have to think safety. You have to prioritize safety. You have to make sure all your equipment, all your both electrical and both technological or IT equipment, all of them are checked every year. Check all the cables, make sure they are still fit for purpose. If they are out of date or if they are not good enough anymore, maybe the what do you call it? Let me give an example. Say for example, this cable has melted somewhere, or there is a damage on the body of the cable. Then you know you have to dispose of it. And because of the law, people don't really care. If it's damaged, you have to dispose of it, because if you leave it lying behind and current goes through it and catches anything, it could cause fire. So these are the things you watch out for. Most server rooms for places, like offices that have server rooms, they are supposed to be properly locked. Make sure that it's being cooled down, especially in Nigeria where the temperature is very hot. It has like an AC. Have like an AC to cool down the systems, because the systems will generate a lot of heat. And if it's like if it's not like an office environment, if for example like a restaurant, you make sure that you have good extractor, fan extractor, or what you call the kitchen hoover that takes away the smoke, to make sure things are well. Uche, do you want to come up? I need somebody that understands fire safety very well. You guys that work in construction knows this training. You have this training a lot of times, so you could help pass the knowledge. But I would just say from the little I know, there is also blankets. If you want to fight fire, if fire is starting and it's small fire you think you can manage, maybe in your house, you don't just panic and run out. Send me a request, or let me try and bring you on from the for big companies outside. I don't know, but they must also have a fire safety procedure as well. So let's see if he's free to come live. So these are the things Nigeria needs to pay attention to. Everybody needs to think safety. Everybody needs to know how to use fire extinguisher, and people need to know the right extinguisher to use. So if it's an electric fire, say for example, it's coming out from an equipment, maybe a bad computer has caught fire, what type of fire extinguisher should you use on electrical? You need to know. If it's an oil, say for example, you are cooking and you're frying oil and fire starts in your kitchen, what do you what do you use? You cannot go and use water on top of that kind of fire. It's going to explode. It's going to even get worse. So those are the things you have to watch out for. If it's combustible, if it is paper and all of that, what type of fire extinguisher would you use? So these are the trainings that you sort of have to. So if it's a company that produces things like paper, you produce things like wood, or it's a manufacturing company that deals with foodstuff, you need to know the appropriate safety measures to put in place. How do you use blankets? I mean, there's been few videos of how blankets is being used to cover fire and quench the fire down. Some extinguishers can be used in multiple scenarios. The most common one you will see is water, which is the H2O fire extinguishers that you see. You have to check it. Sometimes it can be expired and out of date. If it is out of date, there's no point keeping it around. And government need to have health and safety personnel who go from office to office and make sure that people are compliant. Otherwise, people will not do this. And that's why a little fire like this, whole building is gone, or the whole line, if it's a marketplace, is gone, because people don't pay attention. Any place that have, like say, for example, people that are selling clothes. If you are selling clothes, right, you're not supposed to have anything that could cause fire. You have to be checking out for environment. Again, our electricity is epileptic in Nigeria, right? So we don't have steady power, which makes it almost impossible for you to control the surge. So in that case, what happens? You use stabilizer to make sure the power is stabilized. But at the same time, if you are going home for the day, switch off, your appliances. So even if there is power surge, it will not affect your appliances directly. Or use fuses. So if there's power surge, it will blow the fuse and protect your appliances and thereby also protecting your house. So all these things are things that we're supposed to be teaching in schools, in hospitals, giving orientation to people and making sure that employers are doing this in place, in what do you call it, in places of work, and I hope that somebody watches this and see the importance of, this. Now, the government's supposed to make provision for fire trucks, I think Americans call it EMS. Here we call it, hey, Nugodogu. About
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Okay, thank you for joining my live. Biko, I've forgotten some things about fire. It's been a while, and I know you are in the field, so you probably have an idea. Please, what are the 3 things that causes fire? 3 things that have to be there before fire will start. I remember oxygen. I remember heat. What's the 3rd one that makes the triangle? Is it ignition or combustible? I can't remember.
It depends. First of all, it depends on the situation, So, I don't know. To be honest, there are so many ways it can happen. Like, let's start with, for example, like there could be a spark, which could be like you said, So mostly it's that spark if it's in a building, but the ones I can say or where I know more, about this thing is when it comes to buildings,
Yeah. So talk to us about buildings. I know in buildings you usually see a bucket of sand. You will see 2 fire extinguishers. Mainly, there are types of fire extinguishers. There is water one. There is, I call it
foam,
dust. The one I call dust, what is it?
Sorry?
Foam, yeah, foam. I call it dust.
Yeah.
Foam, yeah.
So,
so it's usually those 2, right? Is there another one?
Yeah, there is one more. There is one more. I can't remember at the moment.
Yeah.
But in terms of first of all, let's start with how can you prevent these things from happening in a building, shops. I will start with all these plaza. There's what is called cladding. I expect at least the level
cladding in when they are still building the plaza, right?
Yeah, inside. This is it could be an interior or exterior. Most of them you can have them in interior or exterior, but all these things, you know how Nigeria is. Everybody
So
is trying
how do cladding help? Say for example, electric starts fire. How does cladding help that?
Well, first of all, in terms of that, there's what is called fire protector in every connections in the house. For example, the electrical wiring, it has the protective equipment that comes with it. Like for example, now have you seen the way they do the wiring in the UK?
Wow, everywhere is segmented, yeah.
Yeah, so something like that, it should be applied as well when you're building a plaza. Also, there should be there should be a fire protector, which is every joint, depending on how the plaza is being built. There is a connection to all these things. And what we are forgetting as well in this situation is sprinkler. Sprinkler plays a very huge
That is far-fetched in Nigeria. That is like
so that's number one. Every plaza should have a sprinkler.
I don't think even our airports have sprinklers. I don't think. Have you ever seen sprinkler anywhere in Nigeria?
I did actually. This last time I went, there's some couple of big.
Okay, in Lagos.
Yeah, some places.
Congratulations on your marriage, by the way. Udogu.
Yeah,
well done.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what
So
baffles
let's
me
let's
in this whole
let's talk about things that are. Let's start from the basics. We're talking about Nigeria here,
mm,
so let's not go to sprinkler because we know that water system is not really readily available. People probably drill boreholes, but they have to earn sumo for it to come up. So water is not always available, right? I'm even surprised you said you saw some sprinklers some places. So what are those little measures that can help, an average person that owns a shop? Because these are the places that fire always happens, or somebody that is working in an office or even in a bank.
well, the little things that can help is to make sure that the office that you're moving into, that you have
Mm.
a fire protector mount in every
When you say
joint.
fire protector, are you talking about these fire doors, the FD doors?
No,
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it well.
there's what is called fire protector. It's just like how will I explain it? It's just
Where
like
where where is it installed?
is installed inside the property, inside the office. Like for example, now all the electrical connection, all
Mm.
the electrical connection, every joint where the connection goes out from. Even what is it called again? Some of the drainage. There are some drainage that are very, very explosive. There
Mm.
are some drainage that could be very toxic. So, but it depends, just like I said, it depends on the type of environment. If you're working in a factory, the
Mm-hmm.
drainage, you have to take properly care of the drainage in terms
So,
of the joint, the connections.
oh, are you talking about fire detector? Somebody typed fire detector.
No, I know what is a fire detector. You have a fire
Yeah,
detector,
yeah,
but
yeah.
this
Oh,
is
yeah,
a
yeah. Fire detector is different. So, fire
yeah.
protector, where does it get installed? I'm trying to figure out where does it get installed. Is it on the wall or on electricals, on electrical points?
It's on electrical point. Some of the
Oh,
connections where you do the
okay.
connection, that's how the electrical connections is being done
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah,
building,
yeah.
and it's
Mm-hmm.
like a foam. It comes in different types. There is a foam one, so you apply them, in every joint of the connection. So not a lot of people have seen it.
Mm.
But we have someone that is into fire protective department
Mm.
and stuff like that,
Mm.
he will tell you that is the foam ones you can use. All these foam one
So is it
stuffs.
usually in the junction box or in the distribution box where the
No,
hook cables come?
like for example, let me use in a room now, in a
Mm-hmm.
room, in a room where the in a room where a connection is being done. That is where
Yeah.
a light normally. It depends on where the breakout starts from. But the reason why
Mm-hmm.
they put it in every section of the house is just in case you don't know where it's going to break out from. And
Mm.
secondly, that's where the cladding comes in from. Before they use asbestos.
Yeah. So I don't even think that in Nigeria we have any provision for
Yeah,
cladding. Not even the asbestos one. Because
but the
because
asbestos.
you and I probably you probably know if you call somebody if you want to build a house, all you buy is cement, sand, and stone and block. So and immediately they put block, they put cement on top of block. The next thing is probably screeding and painting. And I don't know if that screeding does anything to fire. I think
No, it doesn't do
just a
anything.
it's just a fining or fine finishing, right? So we don't have any cladding or anything to protect buildings in Nigeria. So we are still very far away
Or can I step
from that.
in? The electrical, body and everything that have upgraded all these things to make life easy for us. But the
Mm,
thing is, most of all these, builders and all that back home, for example, some of them is trying to cut all costs. You
mm,
understand? The electrical department down here in the UK, they've had all these things built built already. Like, for example, the connection that you use, like the wires you use to connect your electricity, all of them have protective equipment right now. Like the coating, that's how they do it. You walk on the rail, you see sometimes when a junction box blows, it doesn't go further than it should be, because
I think you are talking with UK standard. Please, somebody was telling me something on my DM, and I said to him that it will take 2 generations before Nigeria will near
but we have
where
all these
UK.
things. We have all these things in Nigeria. It's just the building industry has chose not to upgrade to that level to pull it.
The only thing they will tell you in Nigeria is that Nigerian cable is the best. And the Nigerian cable they're talking about is the copper inside. That copper is just that rubber on that copper that is the protection, which melts. Do you understand? So in the UK, if I bring out it has a cladding first, then it has another layer that is like then you have another layer. So if I want to strip cable, it takes like 3 or 4 layers to get to the cable. So that's what I'm saying. We are many miles away. So,
but do you
what
know
I'm trying
we have that option to make it happen. All these things, it depends on the type of engineer you are hiring, But the point I'm trying to make here is, no matter what is going on right now, all these things have to take shape. There's no more trying to cut down expenses. Let me give you, for example, people owns, millions of plaza, business back home in Nigeria, for example. Like what happened the other week. And you are telling me these millions of plaza, who knows the kind of businesses they've got there, and you telling me they could not invent putting sprinkler or upgrade. Remember, there's a chairman that looks at
what happened. Sorry, I don't know what happened.
There's a lot of shop got burned down about a few weeks ago.
Oh,
I can't
where?
remember the name, in Lagos. You understand?
Are you serious?
I'm telling you. And the way the way it spreads from one building to another. And that is where that was where I was coming in with cladding. The cladding stops that fire from crossing over. It doesn't matter. Even if there is a building,
will burn only one room. Yeah.
It stops the building from extending the fire outbreak. The cladding plays a big role, And for example, you are saying something that has to do with, it's not everybody can get access to water. That's why I was suggesting sprinkler, and you have a big tank on it. So it's not like you pump out water every single day. The only thing you have to do is just to keep treating that tank. It can be treated.
You see, my brother, it's a very difficult one.
But do you know
everything
it can get treated every week? Just to keep it up.
Everything goes down to cost. I didn't even know about this plaza fire, but even our government buildings, right? Even if you go to government buildings, they are supposedly building to standard. I don't think we have all these facilities there. They don't make any provision to fire safety.
Most of them are upgrading it now. Like all these what's the name? Very close to Mozumba Madiwe, Civil Tower something. They've got it in there now.
Oh yeah, maybe those ones that are built by foreign, building companies.
Couple of new faces now that are opening up their franchise and all that. Some of them got it. They've got it.
Fair, Nigerians have money. Let's not say that they cannot. They can. If you are building a house, you have the money. Let me just put it that way. Think about cladding. This my house is double insulator, but I think that one is for code, right? But that double insulation is just for code, or does it also help with fire?
No, it's for code, but there are some insulators that are fireproof.
Yeah,
but it depends. I don't know if you've got it, but I'm sure that your house has got some.
Yeah. What I know is that if a circuit surge it will break. So only the breaker will go off. So I have to go to the distribution board, unplug whatever the situation is before I can switch it on. So I know they are segmented. And before you become an electrician in the UK, you have to. I know somebody that went through that. What do you call it? Is it not 3 years? Right, 3 years to become an electrician in the UK.
Yeah, it
So
depends what level you
I
are
mean,
starting from, because you
to be
need
a
to get
qualified
certified.
electrician to wire a house, you have to have that. You have to have that. What do they call it
Definitely.
again? Yeah, you have to be qualified to have that. Is it level 3? To become an electrician. So it's not anyhow person that will just come and run cables in the UK. You have to be. It takes 3 whole years of actually going to proper, training, as, or should I call it college? I think it's called college. Yeah, for you to get that license. But
Electrical.
as well as yeah, as well as, let's talk about small businesses. I mean, plazas are for rich people. Let's talk about small businesses, right? Somebody that has one shop and probably selling clothes, what do you think they can do to prevent fire? If you are called in as a fire safety assessor, what can you say to them?
First of all, I would tell you to change your electrical wiring if it
Mm.
doesn't come with a protective equipment on it, just
So,
like you like.
do you think that most fires are caused through the cables?
I reckon half of it comes from a spark, and we remember our light is not steady. You could be using a generator, suddenly the
NEPA
power
will
authority,
come. Mm.
light, surge in, and then, there'll be somewhere spark, or
Mhm.
power trying to find its way and all those kind of stuff, because there is a connection box they've got. Every time there's normal light that comes on, it gives you a signal, but the question is, how often does it get serviced? You understand? Just like the way, I'm sorry, I keep using some references down here. All
No, you
these
have to,
all,
because that's what you know. Yeah.
all these electrical connection got to be tested every month.
I I think the main problem is that, just like the way you cannot just come and say you're an electrician without showing your certification, right? Showing that you are licensed. Most times it's even companies that will bring you in. So companies that have been, that you can trade, you can confirm that, through the company has their company. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So everything is verifiable, and somebody has to be held accountable if anything goes wrong. In Nigeria, anybody can just come and say he's an electrician and just wire the whole house. And I think what you said is actually making sense. I think most fires in Nigeria are caused through electrical way, or electrical fire. So in that case, is it okay for us to say most shops, government should say they should, which fire extinguisher works on electrical again? Is foam, right? Because you can't use water now.
No, you can use water. You can use
The
you
funny thing
can
is that
use
most times they happen in the night.
you can use powder. I forgot what it's called anyway.
Yeah.
So
Oh
yeah.
yeah, there is powder.
Mm.
I'm getting myself confused. So is powder is different from foam, right?
Yeah, foam is, yeah, it's different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, powder maybe. Yeah, I think for electrical fire is powder, right? So most businesses in Nigeria should have, powder fire extinguisher. So in that case, I mean, if it happens during business hours, you can easily, use them to sort of quench the fire, right? So these are things we need to put in place. Then if it's a place like restaurant, for example, then they should have either a mixture of powder and H2O, which is water, to able to quench, depending on which one. If it is hot oil, I don't think you use powder. You use foam, right? You use foam on hot oil. Um, you know, but most cases they will tell you to first of all evacuate. evacuate the people so that there won't be human casualties. And unless you are trained on how to use the fire extinguisher, you shouldn't try to save fire. You shouldn't try to fight fire, right? Unless you are trained. So, and again, people should go and do these trainings. If you come, even if it is 1 day training, let them know the different types of extinguishers. You can see my memory is even, rusty when it comes to. Yeah, I think it's powder. Powder is used on electric, right?
And then you can use wet chemical for cooking. Anything in the kitchen is wet chemical.
Wet chemical, is it a type of extinguisher?
Yes, we have the water. You have the dry powder, which is for pulling out fire. You have the foam, and then you have a wet chemical for cooking. Like if there is, flame.
So I was saying foam. So foam cannot work on oil. Like say for example, in a kitchen, if hot oil starts catching fire or caught fire, what will you use?
Is wet chemical.
Is it just wet chemical? Which one is wet chemical again? Would they write it wet chemical on the fire extinguisher?
Yes, they will put a wet chemical on the fire extinguisher. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very important for people to sort of buy the appropriate, first of all, you have to do assessment, assess your business, assess your workplace, and then from that assessment, you will probably know what type of extinguisher that you need. And, depending on the extinguisher you need, you get training on how to use it.
Yeah.
Now, there is also something called fire warding. So for every business, for every place, somebody has to be trained on how to evacuate people, sound the alarm, do the head count, and also have a fire register to sort of write names of people. I don't know if people even have this thing called fire register, whereby you come into every building, you have to put your name down. These are things we do in the UK that I don't know if they do in Nigeria.
They do, especially block of flats. So they do.
Block of flat, like residential or where? You mean office?
Residential, office, they always have it.
Yeah, even if residential don't have it, in office environment, you come in, you must have a reception, you have to put your name down. And why you put your name down is, in terms of evacuation, they want to know who is still in the building. Because when people evacuate, they go to where is designated as the fire assembly place. So say, for example, I've been a few times in a hotel whereby there will be fire, or maybe there's spark somewhere. Somebody thinks there is fire, sound alarm. Once you hear alarm, whatever you're doing, you leave it and walk towards the exit. If everybody exits, they go to the fire place, the designated fire assembly place. They will do head count based on the information they have, those people they believe are in the building. Now, if they think somebody is still in the building, they have to try and find it. Now, only the trained people will be allowed back into the building. So these are the kind of trainings you can see. Even between the two of us, we are still trying to find out something. So, and we've received the training multiple times. So this is something that needs to be hammered, and train the trainer has to be done. A lot of trainings have to be done for people to understand how to fight fire, ways to prevent fire. In a situation of fire, what should you do? How do you? Because people will see that tanker, which is one of the most common ones, have fallen down. Something that if it happens in the UK, nobody will near that place.
You should never, ever, in the first place, even get even 10 meters away from it.
100 meters even.
You meant to stay away as far as you can.
Anything combustible, anything that can easily start fire, just don't near it. These are the education we need to be giving to people, for people to understand the importance of staying alive. The value for life in Nigeria is very low, right? Go ahead.
And I keep saying this: every vehicle should have the fire extinguisher, dry powder.
They are doing that one now. I don't know if it's powder or what.
Recently, people have been adopting that, have been taking it serious, but before they haven't. And also about the.
But in the UK, we don't have extinguisher in the UK in our cars, though.
No.
Some people say that if you have a extinguisher in your car locked out in the heat, it's likely to catch fire. I don't know how true that is, but in the UK, we don't carry extinguisher around, but in Nigeria, it's actually a thing. And I've seen people go to their cars to bring out the extinguisher to use it to help somewhere that has caught fire, which is also okay. What the most common fires is maybe high tension caught fire in Nigeria, or the transformer sparks, when there's power surge.
But let me tell you,
the
the heat can cause fire. Let me just tell you, the heat itself can cause fire. I'm telling you, the heat. You see the way the forests they get burned during summer, for example.
That one in the UK,
proper heat waves rubbing against one another, or however it happens. But this heat can cause fire as well.
It's
to
true.
all these plaza. But to make things, let's just cut the whole point and tell ourselves the truth. You see, the electrical connection, we should take it serious.
We need an agency that will be checking our electricians. All those people that claim to be electricians, there should be a way. I don't know why there is no notification for anything.
Not even only that. Remember what we talked about. The electrical wires we are using in Nigeria from now, in fact, the one they should be using in Nigeria from now on should be those ones that has high protective equipment, that when it catches fire, it just cuts off. It will not expand like it normally used to. You look at all the panels. You've seen the railway paneling and all those things they put. There is a reason why they do that. Same as the connection of the wiring of the plaza or a small office, it should be taken serious, because they are not taking it serious, and that's why.
Most of these things can only be done by government. Government going to those manufacturers, telling them that, listen, you cannot just have a 16 mm or let's say 8 mm, or even 16 mm of electrical copper, and then all you have around it is just one rubber coating that that when it catches fire, it will just melt it in seconds. You need to put stronger coating, stronger form of protection around it, so that if it catches fire, it will be harder for it to travel faster to destroy things. And also, I'm talking about these doors, these FD30 doors. Those doors that have small window that will tell you this is, in the UK, they will say this is a fire door, And then another very, very important one is fire exit. Most places in Nigeria have two doors, right? Back door and front door, right? Which is good and for building. But then office environment, most places only have one door. Funny enough, most shops will have one door, which is front. It's still okay if it's just one shop in front, but if it becomes a flat, if it becomes this thing, even our church in the UK, everywhere has to have two fire. You need to have a fire exit, so you have to have two fire exits at least to qualify to become a church or anywhere that can harbor from 5 to 10 or 20 people. And it's very important, because in case of fire, people need to use those doors to get out of the building as quickly as possible. So these are the things that government need to talk about. And another thing is those fire signs, fire signs, that green fire sign, even if there is no light, they do those fire signs to be reflective. So even in darkness, you can still see those fire signs. It will say something like fire exit this way. We need to put it. So if you come into an office, maybe a massive office, or you're in a hotel, there is one hotel that I went to in Onitsha called Doris Hill. That Doris Hill is so massive. You can go there, you can get lost. Those fire signs, you can be looking at it, it will tell you how to go back to reception or go back, or how to exit. So these are kind of things that we need to put in place. There's so many things involved in this thing. You can see we are just pointing to things we can remember. And more so, our electricians need to be certified. We can't just have anybody claim that they're electricians and be wiring houses and fire will be catching places. Because another thing is that people don't do investigation into these fires. Do you understand?
Definitely.
The way it works, let's tell them how it works in the UK. In an event of fire, right? What are you supposed to do? Tell them.
Raise an alarm, and go to the nearest exit.
Yeah. So the first thing you do there is what we call fire points, right? They are usually red with one glass thing at the middle. You break it, right? Once you break that fire point, it will raise an alarm. Now, as the alarm is kicking off here, the next alarm in the other room is kicking off. And it's even in this my house now. If I'm cooking and it gets so hot and my windows are not open to let the heat out, the alarm will trigger. That's another one to talk about. The fire detectors. Do we have fire detectors in buildings in Nigeria? That's another question. Do we have fire detectors? Because it is those detectors that can smell the smoke and raise the alarm.
Yeah. Not really. Just like I said, the newly built franchise are, trying to, put some couple of few things in place.
Maybe in Lagos, but this is something that's supposed to happen across the whole Nigeria. Builders supposed to have an association. Engineers in Nigeria are supposed to have an association whereby they talk about these safety measures. Make sure they make it a priority that, especially for government houses, schools, public places, universities, banks, multinationals, make sure that all your buildings are equipped with fire detectors, fire alarms, fire equipment, including blankets and all the rest, and then train a fire warden. It's the fire warden that will make sure that everybody have left the building. It's the fire warden that will make sure that everybody's name is ticked on the register that day. And the way you do it in the register is that for every new day, you can't say this is my office. They know I'm in my office now. No, every new day you put the date at the top and write the name and say you have arrived this time. If you are leaving, you'll sign and say, I exited this building this time. So that in case of fire, they will not be calling you, hello, are you in the office? You will say, no, you are wasting time. So it's good for us to always have those fire register. You will now, so how it works is that if somebody sees fire and then press the alarm, the fire goes. Once you hear the alarm, you walk away. You walk towards the exit. You leave all your belongings, you just walk. Do you understand? Now, when you walk out of the door, you go to where they call the fire assembly point. In that fire assembly point, the fire warden will always wear their high vis, whether it is green or yellow or whichever, or orange, and come there. The fire warden will now call everybody's name, and everybody outside will tick. We say present, and they will tick their names. Once all their names are being ticked off, now when the ambulance comes, right? Sorry, not ambulance. When the fire people come, the firefighters come, they will now come and ask, who is the fire warden here? You are the one that will explain, okay, this is where the fire starts, or this is the place we think it starts. Now, the fire people are the people who are trained. They are the specialists that are trained to, even if the fire is still burning, they are the ones that know how to enter that building. And they're the ones that will certify that building to be okay for you guys to re-enter, unless they approve for you to go back. Don't go back and say, oh, my phone is there, let me go and collect it. These are simple things that saves life in the UK or abroad that Nigerians need to start teaching people. Another thing is that most places of work, they do what they call fire test. You will choose a day in a week that you do fire test. So when I was working in a GP, I'm the one, because I'm the fire warden, I'm the one that will go and do the fire test every Wednesday. Once it is time for the distance, apart from that Wednesday, at that particular point in time, any other time the alarm goes on, everybody will go out. But for that Wednesday, they know it's a fire test. I have to manually go and start the fire. There's a key that I will put in the fire point. Here with the key to start. Once I start the fire, I will quickly go and turn it off from the control switch. Do you understand? So people will get used to that alarm. You see, human beings are habitual. If you don't train them, even all this training, I'm telling you, if you do fire warden 2 years, it has expired, you have to go and renew it. Definitely. Because if you don't remind people, you can see even me, I've forgotten some of the things. So that is why you need to be training people, retraining and retraining people. Our banks, we need to be training people because they have cash, and cash is paper. They have places that they cannot allow fire. Teach people how to make sure that they clear their desk. Being in a neat environment is one of the ways to prevent fire. making sure that you don't leave combustibles lying around and any small heat it will turn to fire. So all these things are very important. But like I keep saying, most of the things I say on my platform is for politicians. They are the ones that have the power to implement these things. Governors, presidents, ministers, they are the ones that have the power to say, okay, if you're a company manufacturing cable, this is the standard, and make it a Nigerian standard, ISO standard, that all your cables, for example, will comply with this standard of protection, and all your distribution boxes we have this kind of level of protection. You can also start bringing these things into our building, for example. Like in Nigeria, we use alumaco glasses, right? But then you can still do that, do something, that we could use this cladding of a thing, or even put fire detectors at home. Did you understand? Go on.
But there's one thing I want to say. I know we always point out government has to do this, has to do that. But can we say something? Can I say something? We need to help ourselves. Let me just give you, for instance, these shops that got blown down because of fire breakout. I can guarantee you there are multi-millionaires and billionaires on that project, and they've all got chairman that looks after the place, gives updates about stuff. Are you telling me that I know it's the duty of the government to provide what do they call the people that takes the fire down, the fire brigaders? It's their job to provide in a big plaza what billions and millions of naira. They should have it stationed and order. And first off, and secondly, one thing I pointed out is the way the plazas are being built in Nigeria is being built in a wrong setting. You cannot build plazas together. There's got to be space. Just like you are saying, both the exits, there's got to be a connection road to it for people to be able to gain an access in and out of the plaza. So everything is all joined together. Okay, fair enough. That's an old setting. I know we have to upgrade from that. But thirdly, they have to, if the government cannot do that for themselves, because it's someone that built this plaza with their money and then let it, rented it out to, civilians and people that are doing the business. So you're telling me with all that multi-billionaires in there that they could not come together to get a good fire brigader, machine, cars, everything they need, and put it out there and keep it there and make sure it's being serviced and looked after for in an emergency? They could have done it, but it's just the negligence of this whole situation. That's how a lot of people are being affected. And I can guarantee you there are lots of people that just got their containers, sent in what millions of naira waiting, to sell out everything, and it just happened just under 24 hours like that. Everything got burned down. It was that bad that you can see the burnt plazas collapsing. I thought you saw that on Insta blog.
No.
It's even my auntie that told me this. See what happened, and I went and looked back on Insta blog and I saw the whole stuff that was happening. Because it was
maybe you send it to me. I didn't see it, but I'll
go back and find the link and I'll send it out to you. It was on Insta blog.
No,
I didn't
see it. But there was one that happened. There was one that happened in Onitsha. You know Onitsha very well. So this one happened by that hospital in Opiweka, right? Now, from Opiweka to Ochanja is like a little bit slopey. So the fuel was going down the gutter like this all the way to Ochanja, all the way through to main market. Do you know the fire started from that place?
I saw that.
All the way
I saw that.
Jesus Christ. Do you understand? So
that was sad.
Now they don't, even till now, I don't know if Onitsha have fire truck, but then there used to be fire ambulance service somewhere in Onitsha that used to be there I don't know if it's
Main
there
market.
anymore.
There used to be one or two in main market.
Yes. So these are the things. Government need to do their part. Citizens need to do their part. Even if those plazas, especially plazas whereby there are multi-millions worth of goods in people's shops. Do you understand? Every plaza is supposed to have what they call fire points. All these fire points, you will have that that fire alarm system or breakpoint. You will have under it, you will have the fire extinguishers, at least two different types. One for electrical, one for normal fire. Yeah. So one CH2 and probably one foam or one powder. And then put a blanket there, fire blanket, right? And that should be in multiple places in that plaza, even if you don't have a fire truck. Do you understand? So these are the things we're supposed to be putting in place in Nigeria and encourage every union, every line. Most places, most business places these days, they organize themselves and have a leader or have a chairman or have a union. Every union should be encouraged. Who should buy fire extinguisher? Nigerians know what fire extinguisher is now because everybody carries it in their trunk, in their boot. So buy an average fire extinguisher and keep by your shop. In your line, have at least 5. Do you understand? And then buy the appropriate one depending on what you are selling. In classrooms, in schools, we are supposed to also have all these fire points, have fire detector, for all these, especially all these schools that are very, very expensive in Lagos and Abuja that people pay ridiculous amount of money. I saw somebody saying that school fees in Nigeria is about 45 million. I wonder what they are teaching, So all these schools supposed to be that standard. They're supposed to have, what do you call it? They're supposed to have fire points and good fire extinguishers that should be able to fight fire. So these are my submissions. I hope things can be done in this regard. Hi, Anthony.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Go on, Uche.
It's not only to be answering SOB, SZDs, this and that. All that money, they could have done something with it. And remember, let's not underestimate the power of a sprinkler. I keep saying this. I've been hinting.
Go hard. And I know why that sprinkler go hard. A lot of people are running.
Do you know those plazas? It could be one of the easiest things to do there at the early stage. Remember,
that's what I'm saying.
I know you can't get a borehole. You can't get a borehole running 24 hours, but you can get a tank.
But sprinkler is something you have to build in the initial stage. You have to plan it with your borehole system.
Wait, what are you guys talking about?
We're talking about fire safety assessment in Nigeria. So there's this plaza that got burnt recently in Lagos, apparently. So we're talking about what's best to do to sort of avoid these fires or to tackle it, because governments have refused to buy fire trucks. So what other things can we do to avoid all these things? So my good friend here, Uche, is talking about sprinklers, but then I feel like because there is no good access to water, right? Everybody has to build their
water system. What is a sprinkler gonna do? Nigeria have a water system. Nigeria don't have a sewage system. Nigeria don't have anything. What is that going to do?
Sewage system, that one is far-fetched. I mean, Nigeria is like one village in one forest.
Exactly.
I don't think
I'm still making my point. With all these millionaires hanging about, driving a car worth 100 million, and you are telling me they can still get a tank across the plaza and get an upgrade with sprinkler. I don't believe that. No. It doesn't matter whether you are hiring a tank, running from mainland to the other side of the land to top up those tanks and keep treating it. It doesn't matter how they get it done. The main thing is that tank is filled up at all costs. So it's not only about driving 100 million naira car and all that, and nobody in that plaza. It's not one or two. It's about hundreds, 500s of plaza, worth of billionaires on it. One of the business is worth about 200 million. 200 million.
And I wonder if they have insurances, and even if they do have insurances, does those insurances cover fire?
My brother, well, I know my brother hosting a life. I know you live in America, right?
No, I live in the UK.
Okay, UK. My other brother, where do you live?
UK as well.
No, we all live in the UK, yeah.
So why are we talking? Have we forgotten the country where we come from? Why are we forgetting that all of this amenities you're talking about, like sprinkler and water system, and
I
now
will restart the
insurance?
live. It will log me out, but I will restart the live. It will log.
Yes. So
Yeah. So hi everyone. The live ended. I'm still under this 1 hour thing. I think Instagram is filled up with people going lives, and they probably don't have any more spaces and in the databases, so they are limiting everybody to 1 hour. Hi Jibril. Hi Obuchazo. Hi, welcome. So see if my friends can join back. So we talked about solutions for Nigeria businesses, buildings, plazas, stadiums. We have to start thinking safety from the moment we start building any construction. We need to start thinking, how do we make sure that those, establishments are safety protected, or safety assured rather, because if you invested 300 million to build anything and fire come and burn all those things down, and probably insurances in Nigeria, I don't know if they cover fire, because those are one of the things that easily happens these days. They might be tricky and say that they don't cover fire. And if they don't cover fire, when they send their own request, if they don't cover fire, then your whole money is gone. So we have to think they do. Okay, somebody said they do. So they do cover fire. But it's quite a tricky one, because if you say they do, right, do they also do for all the businesses inside the plaza? Because it could just be the landlord alone building those. It could just be the landlord that has those. What do you call it? Insurance. So it might just cover the cost of building the plaza. So it might just be down to those businesses themselves to bring or to have their own insurances. So it's quite a challenge. So I'm talking about insurances in Nigeria. If they cover fire, or in case in event of fire would cover. Everybody run 2 accounts on this IG. Well done, my brother.
I'm greeting.
Evening.
So they do. First off,
why do you say they do? Do you know anybody?
My mom, we've been an incident of the fire thing. This is grown back fast, 2000 and I think 2008 or 2009.
Where was this?
Balogun, Lagos. Balogun Island. My mom had a shop.
Okay.
She has a warehouse. These goods running up to 50-40 million, and all got burnt. So that's why I'm telling you this. So sad.
So what did they cover? The content or the building? Because that's the way they do these insurances, right?
The content. It's not one. We're not the owners of the building, right? You're renting like
okay. So that's different. So you are like a tenant in the building. So the building doesn't concern you, just the content.
That's what it is most times on the island. It happened again last year or 2 years ago? Another of her shop again got burnt again too. So, but luckily my dad insured it, right?
Okay.
So you as a leaser, like someone leasing or renting, if you don't buy insurance, so they have insurance companies that will tell you it's pricey, but if you know the worth of your goods, then it's smart or wise for you to just do it. And all. So it's not.
Do you know if your parents had any or have, since they've experienced it in the past, do they have any measure for that not happening again?
What are they? It was a different building, right? That other building got burned. So
Okay.
this one now, the new one they did, the new one that happened last year. This happened last year. It was on Linda and KG too. I think I
Oh,
still have
wow.
a picture because my brother went to see it when it was burning in the morning.
Mm.
In the morning, most times this fire they start at night when nobody's there. So even
Exactly.
at
That's
some
why I
point
said
now, was suspecting that they do these things to chase people away, customers, because
intentionally, and that
intentionally.
is actually a crime. It's called arson or arson.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they do
Yeah.
because most of these buildings they are old, right?
Mm.
Sometimes they actually just this customer or this tenant has been there for years, and
Mm.
somewhat so they don't know how to maybe even if you increase the rent, maybe government wants to take that property or something. I don't know how these things happen, but it's
Mm.
always the first one that happened 2008, 2009.
Mm.
This my parents they thought they were all going to retire back to the village, but God saved them that they insured it. They were in the village when this one was happening, and this was happening at
Mm.
like 12 a.m., 1 a.m. Same thing
Mm.
again. This one too. Last year was around that time, all up into the morning and all. So,
No,
but
so
this
but
one
I
they
was trying
had.
to ask, like, since your parents have been victim of this fire in the first place, right? Even though it's a different building,
Yeah.
did they employ any measure to
Yeah,
sort of? Did
definitely
they have?
buying. So first thing first, my dad bought a higher premium insurance, like a higher package.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, they'll tell you insurance for them to insure it. They'll make sure that you have fire extinguishers or stuffs
That's
that
a good point.
so
They
should have
will.
in the house
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. They would make sure they don't just insure
They
because
just
it's they have
just
to
ensure,
they
yeah.
have to cover their own house too.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad had all those things, but you can have the fire extinguisher and if nobody is there too, it's
Nobody
not going to
to
burn.
use it,
And
yeah.
this fire is coming from, say, okay, say the warehouse is maybe the third floor, and the fire is coming from the second floor, or maybe it's coming from the
And
fourth or
because of
fifth
what we are
coming
saying,
down.
Uche, there's no cladding. It will go. You keep
It
going.
will
You
just
keep
keep going.
spreading.
It will just
Mm.
keep going and all that. So yes, insurance covers it. They cover. But if you check, most of all these buildings, they are really old. Nigerians, they don't maintain them. You see generators inside the building, on top, just outside. So there's so many
Mm.
things. So, and what my mom does is, she designs shoes, and they bring like lots of them from China. So she gives
Mm.
them a design and they bring like wholesale. So, and most of these shoes are in carton. So those are flammable. So
Atoms,
they just make
combustible.
it more,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
um
yeah, yeah. Combustible.
it's really sad. It's
Mm.
very
Yeah.
sad thing. You don't want to ever experience that. But
No,
yeah,
no.
it's a lot. It's a lot. I
So I'm
think it's
very
a
happy
lot.
to know that there is insurance company that
Yes, I
actually
know
do
it does.
pay out. Yeah,
Yeah, they do.
no, it's
They do.
actually
They
good.
might take time. The first one I knew it took time before they paid, but
Mm.
like the new one, I think no, because now they're also like, would I say upgrading to updating.
Mm.
I know it's
You
just
see, you
sometimes the
see most
awareness.
things. You will see most things in Lagos. This Lagos is like Obodo Ibo on its own. Do you understand? Lagos is
Yeah,
like different from the other parts of Nigeria. So what is obtainable in Lagos, you might find out that it's not obtainable in probably places like Enugu or
in the
the
east.
rest. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
It could be
Yeah.
that. It could be due to awareness too, right?
Mhm.
It's just how many people, like in the East now, how many people are willing to purchase these insurance policies?
That's the
That's
thing.
another thing. So
But
awareness is like,
do banks sell insurances in Nigeria? Because here
no,
banks
I
sell
don't think
insurance.
so.
That's the
They do
thing.
in UK.
Yeah, in the UK, it's banks that sell most
Is it?
insurance. Your bank can
100%.
Oh.
install. Your bank can insure
Oh
your
yeah,
phone.
You're right. You're right. I just thought about it now. Yeah, my car insurance is TD. Yeah. You're right. You're
Okay,
right.
your car insurance is
It's
no
TD
car insurance is
bank.
mostly are not banks, but things like phone, home,
Mm.
laptops. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they do all of those.
Here,
So
the TD also has like home insurance,
yeah,
auto insurance,
yeah,
and all.
yeah,
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 so
yeah,
I
yeah.
just thought about that now. That makes sense.
So I was
Mm.
asking Uche before, Onyeka. So what do you think is the most? I mean, apart from what you are speculating about arson or ARSON, what do you think
Hmm.
is the most cause of fire in Nigeria?
Wiring, most times. I would say
We just said
electrical
it.
wires.
Wires,
Electrical wires, yeah. Sometimes they use
incompetent
fake.
electricians.
Yeah, and I think that's one big major. I think that's one big major because the thing is, no matter how much you spend, if you're someone that don't know what you want, or if you're someone that don't go for quality, then there's a problem. I can remember, like I would always, like I learned a lot from my dad. He's that um someone that goes for quality instead of quantity. It's better for me to spend all my
Mm,
money and buy something that will last me.
that
But
will
certain
last.
people now, oh, this wire is too expensive, but we can give you second grade. And no, my dad will
Mm.
tell you, give me the best grade. So stuff like that, wiring for sure. When they don't, yeah, I think electricians too, if they don't connect properly and all that. Maintenance too, because sometimes they see this wire is actually wearing off and they just let it be, and before you know,
Yes,
sparks. And so
but
there's a lot of things. There are lots of things to actually consider, um, that cost that can be it. But for that
mm,
Lagos Island one, if you notice, it's always December, or it's like it's I don't know. I don't want to say, but that's
I know what you're talking
the
about. Yeah, some
information
things are
going
left
around.
unsaid. But yeah, I
Yeah.
know what you're talking about. Uche, do you have anything to add to what he said?
Well, well, no, not much. It's just at the end of the day, what you said about we need to make sure we have a competent, you know, electricians that are certified to do the right job, and also the the wiring quality, the
Mm.
electrical appliances quality has to be top notch. Just like
But
we are always
but is
been.
it just the wiring, or can appliances also that you buy all these China products? Maybe you buy fan, or you buy iron, or you buy any gadget that is inferior can also cause fire. It might not just be the actual wiring, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just
It's
Yeah.
inferior products,
superior
you
product.
know, at anything really can start it, isn't it?
Mm.
So
Yeah. There's so many things, and even just being, would I say, proactive or disciplined to know that when you're not using, you see how abroad here we leave things just plugged in. It's like I'm not using the AC, turn it off, switch it off, like certain steps just to take, just to,
Exactly. Too much heat.
uh,
too
Too
much,
much heat
mm-hmm,
build up as
heat
too
well.
too,
much heat,
yeah.
You know.
too much heat. Because Nigeria is hot. Nigeria is super hot. Too much
Mhm.
heat. If you're not using anything, turn it off. If you are
Um,
living the common practice in the
Mm,
UK. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and regular fire testing, just like you said earlier,
Yeah.
it's got to be
Yeah.
it's got to be checked. If it's an office, all the appliances got to be checked up every month. If it's once every month, they do it, or twice every month. They've
Yeah.
got to keep an eye on it.
The the
Every time
appliances.
something starts failing, you've got to update that, change it straight away. Don't say, let's wait till the board of
mm,
trustee do this and that. Any single error that you dictate when you are checking all these updates and, testing, you've got to tackle it straight away. Don't let it build up. And
Yeah.
I still refuse. I know one of our brother here was saying, have you forgotten where we came from? There is an upgrade. These people they've got this so much money to travel China, abroad, or whatever it is to go and buy these goods. So they are seeing all the safety system. So there is no way you tell me, if you're answering me Stando car for chief can be whatever they call it, and you're driving 120 million car, that you're telling me you cannot, you make that as a
No, no,
priority, just
no.
like
I
what my
think
brother was saying here. The dad has to go for the top-notch stuff
yeah,
to make
policies
sure
and all.
that his business is being protected. This
no,
is
no.
somebody that knows what his business. There are lots of people out there. They have the money, but
They,
Well, I agree
to
with you,
make out time
but
to invest that
let's let's
money.
let's be realistic, Uche. Right? Let's be realistic.
But do you know where
Yeah.
I'm coming from? But do you
I know
get
where
where
you're
I'm
coming
coming
from, but
from?
I'm actually thinking about the practicality of having a sprinkler in Nigeria. The practicality means
I'm not only going about the sprinkler. It's just an option.
Okay.
I'm not saying it must. It's just an option that anybody could have, stick on. There are lots of plaza that's being built every year in and out. You're not telling me they're not seeing the high electrical, connection properties that they could invent to in the building, but they will choose to go to the low grade ones because they need to do quick to rent it out to get their money's worth in a year or two and all that. All these things, all these things is not helping us. Right? So I'm not.
I think another thing is if government, you see, here we pride ourselves and say there's something called UK standard, right? I think Nigeria should also raise their standard, right? So that just anybody will not just come and import anything they like, whether that is subsidized. Because if people don't have an option of buying a fake product, they wouldn't buy one. Do you understand? So if people have an option of buying something that is superior, then they go for it. So we need to sort of make our government understand, especially when it comes to electricals. Since we've identified, at least on this live, I don't know, maybe other people can have different opinions, that most fires are caused from electrical parts. Then when it comes to electrical parts, make sure you go for the premium quality. And also government should make sure that substandard products or things that, say for example, there is, we don't keep statistics in Nigeria. Say for example, there's 20 fires in a year. In that 20 fires, the fire people or the health and safety goes in there and see the same type of cable in these 20 buildings. Then they should ban that cable. Are you getting what I'm saying, Uche? So if there is a particular product that have been proven to be inferior or something that is leading or causing fire, then those products should be taken out of the market. Do you understand? Then people will be forced to go for the only option, which is quality. Because, and again, what I am emphasizing and overemphasizing again is, in the UK, you cannot do anything unless you are licensed to do it. They don't born you well to say, oh, I know, I sabi, I see my father do it, I see my brother they do it, my friend taught me. No, you must be trained and licensed to do that thing. So we need to have a way of licensing our electricians. Anybody should not just come and wire anything and we just allow it. Sometimes you look at some high tensions, the way the wiring system is on that high tension, you'll be so confused. And that's why when there is surge, it will spark because things are not neat, things are not normally done. There is no enough earthing, there is no enough protection or what my brother was talking about here, protecting the individual cables. Most of the cables are even lying out naked. Hope we know.
Yeah.
You see all those three cables that go from pole to pole, they are naked. That's why once they land on the, so for example, if a pole falls down and they land on, they are killing people immediately because they expose
people. Yeah.
Do you understand?
They're straight away. Yeah.
Man, there's so much to deal with in Nigeria. Anything you want to talk about, you find out that you are miles away from where you want to be.
But the most of the fire incidents we've been seeing is actually in Lagos, though. I don't know if maybe other states don't record. I don't know.
The one that happened in Onitsha that was very bad, I remember, was a tanker. Tankers fall a lot in Nigeria. Tankers fall a lot.
And that we can say bad road too.
Now, when tankers fall, if the fire has not started, somehow they forget that the fire will still start somehow or easily. They will go and be scooping fuel. From scooping fuel, the next thing, fire come and roast them like chicken. So people need to know that because you see a tanker that fell does not mean you should go and scoop fuel, no matter how poor you are, because you are just going close to your death. It's suicide.
One spark, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Fire goes like air. It will also roast everybody. So people need to be careful about that. That's one of the most common fires in Nigeria. Tankers falling. Then the other ones that will happen is usually in the night. I don't know whether that wishes they cause them, but it's usually in the night. Do you understand?
If it's
usually in the night, then it could be caused by this surge we are talking about. You know,
Could
we
be
don't have steady
because
power.
even
Right.
if you notice, right, even let's take for instance AY's house that got burned. Why is it that when nobody's in the house? Do you understand where I'm
I tell you
coming from?
I tell you something witches. I tell you something witches
So
because
I think it has
this
to do
guy
with the
lock up in house,
electricity, you
travel.
know.
He
Yeah.
traveled, his wife travel. So what could cause fire in the
Yeah.
house?
So, my brother,
It,
here's the thing, right? Whenever it comes to Nigeria and whenever an incident happens, right, just know that there's been, you can count about 10 infrastructure failures that's caused that to happen.
God bless.
Whenever there's an accident, whenever there's a tanker flooding, you can count like 20 or 30 different things that were not in place to get to that point for that to happen, including the people and the corruption itself. So the problem in Nigeria is greater than anything else we can talk about. Unfortunately, the people are we make fun of the government. They do this. The people are the most of the majority of the problem. The people are 99% of the problem, in my opinion. Because you know why? The government are from the people. The government didn't fall from the sky. They're a reflection of the people themselves.
but Anthony, I think I beg to differ, though. I don't think I would agree with you. To an extent, yes, you say
Okay.
the government are from the people or certain, like, yeah, they say show us a leader and I'll show us the people and you pick a leader from them or something like that. But see, we talking like this now, maybe because of the exposure we have and experience. But there are certain people that have left Nigeria, right, and go back
Mm-hmm.
there and turn into something else because these leaders they travel, they
They've
leave the
left and come
country
back.
and
Yes.
they know good things. So I don't want to
Give me an
say
example
the
of
problem
who.
is the people. Almost
Anthony,
all
most governors
almost all
and presidents have
politicians
lived
they were
abroad.
abroad, then they
Most
came back.
politicians have lived abroad.
Almost all.
Almost all of them.
Okay. Also, okay. Most of, let's say half. Are you telling me that half of the states in Nigeria are doing well because of the cost of wealth are living abroad?
No, no,
Have lived
no.
abroad.
No. You're getting me wrong. I'm saying you saying is the people. I don't think it's the people though.
Is the
If
people the 99% of the problem? Yes.
I don't know. I don't want to believe that. If a
Oh,
government
Let me
decides,
give an example. Let me give an
Onyeka,
example.
let's balance it. There is a people's
yeah,
problem,
I
and
know.
Hold on.
there
Let
is
me
a
give you a
people's
simple
problem,
example.
and there
Let me
is
give you a
a
simple example.
political problem as well.
Let me
Go
give you an
ahead.
example. Um, the reason why I started thinking this way, people think it's because since I came to America. No, actually, it started when I lived in Ghana. Right? I was
Okay.
coming back from school, and I was in the bus. Before I entered that bus, I bought pure water. As the bus was moving, I was sucking on the pure water, sucking on pure water, sucking on pure water. You know, I'm a Nigerian boy. Immediately I finished sucking on that pure water, I did the normal casual Nigerian thing, opened the window, and threw it away. Everybody in that bus ridiculed me. Then he taught me, they just said, "Sir, why did you do that? That is wrong.
Okay.
Because if everybody started littering like you, they will not have this street be flooded and there'll be trash everywhere."
Mhm.
It's a chain reaction. Now, there was no police officer there to enforce me not littering. There was no military. There was no sign that there's 99% chance that I will do those things every day and not get caught. But it's the people that are realizing that, okay, this is not good for our collective good. Doing this is not good. Nigerians don't have that
Okay. So Anthony,
because
see,
there are
I
some things
what
you can
secondary
never
school did
govern.
you go to?
What secondary school did I go to?
Yeah.
I went to school in Songota.
Okay, so me, I went to a boarding school, and I don't know. I don't want to say maybe because I was a labor prefect and all that, but I am not comfortable throwing things, and this has been for the longest, even before living abroad.
But
Here abroad, I
who
still have.
instilled that in you? I think that's what he's saying. He
It's
said
the
the people
teachers now.
instilled that in you.
It's the teachers, right? For me, like
Okay.
like in like teachers, it's just them saying this is wrong, or me taking junior students to go and pick up debts. And I know in my own common sense, why will I throw this? So when I finish secondary school, I'm driving. I cannot. I feel uncomfortable throwing things out of the window. Do you understand? I'm here abroad. There are people from Iran, Iraq. I have a friend, and we are driving one day. He finished drinking and threw on the floor. I was looking at him weirdly. This is not a Nigerian guy. So it's not.
Hold
I
on,
think it's like an
hold on. Here's why I say it's the people. I say it's the people because when you clock out a Nigerian like me
Yeah.
to America or abroad, you have to start mimicking the way people are mimicking. If not, you're the odd one out. Right? If not, you're odd one out. You over the time, the good behavior of the people starts shaping you.
Okay.
Because you realize that normalizing thing you do in your own country or in another place is actually stupid and dumb anywhere else.
Yeah.
Right?
But Anthony, I just gave an example of this Iran guy
No,
that was in his
let me
house.
give you another example. Let me give you another example. I don't know if you guys have GameStop in your country, in UK.
GameStop, yeah.
Are you in America?
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Do you guys have GameStop?
Oh, thank you. Read this comment. It is primarily the government. Oh, thank you, Aboni Silva. You are a lifesaver.
My brother. Let me say something.
Hold on, Anthony. Let me read this. It is primarily the government. For instance, Naira abuse is now a serious crime in Nigeria because the government is enforcing a serious law about that. So people can't do it anymore. You see?
My brother, you see the problem you
If you go
Nigerians
back
have?
together, you will see why the Ghanaians are shouting at that time is because their government is against it.
No, my brother. You see, I'm sorry to say this. This is why Nigeria will never prosper. Because you guys are not sitting and realize how are we going to change things themselves? But let us depend on the government. The government to come and save us. It's never going to work.
I said it's a two-way problem. People's problem and policy. Policy comes from government and then people have to abide.
Let me give you another example. Right? Again, I said GameStop. For the people that don't know what GameStop is, GameStop in America is like a shop where they sell video games.
Video games. CDs,
I know what you're talking about.
Do you live in America?
No, but I know what you're talking about. I'm a gamer. I love games.
Okay. GameStop, it's like a store. You go there and buy video games. So when I moved to the US, I started working and I realized that GameStop has a policy. Listen to this. They have a policy that if you buy a game and you feel dissatisfied by that game, you have 1 week to return that game.
Bring it back.
If you return that game in less than 1 week, you get your full refund back.
Okay.
My stupid Nigerian brain think, oh more, if you buy this game,
Finish it.
Play it for 2 or 3 days, return the game. In fact, I don't know, I have plenty of locations. They can go to other locations and do the same thing.
Okay.
Right? And nobody will know. I was like, damn, I've discovered something big. I've did a big discovery. Do you know I did this thing for 1 month? 1 weekend, one Monday, I came to work. I was talking to my co-worker, which is mostly white. And I, Anthony, how was the weekend? This place, how was the weekend? How was the weekend? Anthony, how was the weekend? I said, oh, I did something big achievement. They say, what do you do? I tell them, I went to
GameStop.
bought 2 games. I can never forget God of War and Tomb Raider. God of War and Tomb Raider. And I said, man, I spent my entire weekend playing this game. Guess what, guys? As of this morning on Monday, I returned the game back. And I'm going to get my full result. But all of them attacked me and said, damn, why would you do that? I said, not me, them do the policy. Not me, them do the policy. They told me, Anthony, if half of the customers in GameStop abuse the policy the way you abuse it, that country will go bankrupt. That company will go bankrupt.
Company will go bankrupt. Okay.
It is a trust thing they're putting on you as a customer, as a citizen. Like, I said, Anthony, when you played the game, did you enjoy it? I said, oh, I love it. I said, then that was not meant for you. It was meant for people that felt unsatisfied by the product that they can return it. All of you live here, you have Walmart where you guys stay. You can easily buy things at Walmart, buy food at Walmart, wear it to your wedding, come back and return it. Walmart will take it from you. But most of us don't do that. And if people do Walmart as a company, will go bankrupt. So it's not sometimes companies do things out of trust in the community. There's the reason why, I don't know if you do this in the UK, but in America, this is when you go to like big stores, they might have like a grill or lawnmower they put outside the store. Anybody can go there and steal it. But they're believing in the community and say, okay, we are entrusting in you that this thing will be here and you'll not run away with it.
Okay.
Hold on.
Anthony, can I respond?
Hold on, let me finish. Do you know in America, and I'm sure the UK, if you go to Apple Store in UK, the phones are on display. And they say, why connected to the phone, right? Meaning you cannot just walk the phone and walk away. Do you know in Japan, that same Apple store has phones all over the table, no wire connected? Because what? We're entrusting the public. It's a trusting, you know what? You're not going to take this phone and run away. My point I'm trying to make is a country becomes much more functional if the people themselves, not only you don't have laws forcing you to do something, not realizing, man, this is not actually good. Yeah, because this might be, for instance, in America, you can run red lights all the time. If a cop is not there, which cops don't usually catch people for red lights, but people don't do it. There is one in the middle of the night. If you are driving, you stop red, you will stop because you have been braining your mind that I don't need the police to stand there to force me to do something. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, Anthony, people are habitual, right? What you just said is people turn into habits. And rightly so, you've made some very solid points. But I want you to understand the policy and the people solution. Policy has to be in place for people to know actually there is a law. Even when they are breaking it, they know actually they are breaking a law. They are not in ignorance. They know what they are doing. If there is somebody watching or if there is police there, you will notice sometimes if you do certain things here, people will beep horn. And usually to beep horn abroad is like shouting, right?
Yeah.
But people will beep horn when you do something silly because they know you know the law, but you've broken the law.
Yeah.
Do you understand? They might not police you because they are police, but they will beep the horn to shout at you that why did you do that? Now, why what you said is valid? Sometimes I wonder, why is it that so many shops here, anyway, that's not a good example because you can walk into a shop and steal, right? Just like in Nigeria, you can walk into a shop and steal if that person is not
Yeah.
watching. So it's not really a good answer or a good example.
They
But
still see wherever you guys
yeah,
are, America,
yeah,
UK,
yeah,
people
but
still lift, right?
he has a point though,
Shoplift.
Onyeka. He has a point though, right? Because I did a live whereby I tweeted why Nigerians need church to do the bare minimum. In Japan, they said that when people are walking to the train, everybody keep quiet in early hours of the morning because they are considerate about others. Nigeria, we like noise. We don't even know that noise is disturbing. Do you understand? They will say, Nigerians are loud people. When I came to the UK, I used to live in somewhere called Woolwich. Anybody that is in the UK that knows Woolwich will tell you that it's mostly like you are in Lagos.
Yeah.
You will come there. You will enter bus. You will think you are in Lagos. I don't know. Oh, sorry. The school has it. I told them to leave it because they were taking time to find it.
So,
I'm on live, babe. We'll
so
talk about that.
Anthony, Anthony, after that incident at the bus, did you ever throw like sachet of water outside again?
Never, because
So-
I realize, hold on. The point I'm making is, if you are going to wait for the government, I give you an example. There is no law saying that you cannot return anything you will want on Walmart. There's no law requiring you. Walmart and Big Com only made that policy because we want to satisfy our customer.
So, Anthony, what I was trying to say is that we meet halfway.
Hold on.
There is the people's problem, but there is also a policy problem.
Hold on. The company is saying, I know we're talking about law and you use company as an example. The company is saying, we are not going to, this is the policy we have, but you are also trusting you not to abuse it. Of course, there are people in America and the UK that abuse those things. But if 10% of customers abuse it, do you know, my brother, do you know in America, do you know the store called Costco?
Costco, yes.
A woman bought a couch used the couch for 2 years, came back to Costco and said, oh, this couch, I don't like him again. Costco collect the couch, give her back her money. It made news on the internet. Now, the question I'm going to say, imagine my Nigeria being the country that I know, I was born and raised. People will abuse that thing so much that the company cannot function. They stop that. That's why in Nigeria, whenever you return something, right, the person that's taking it to is doing anything possible not to take away from you.
But Anthony, you would agree with me that these companies didn't just start immediately they started their company. They didn't just start doing these things, right? This reform policy.
I would actually argue that they do. Having been someone who have sold something online, I've opened business because because you know why? Because when you tell somebody, oh, you can always return this thing, that you're also telling the customer that my Mr. Customer, I believe in my product so much that you're probably not going to return it. But if you don't like it, you can return it.
Okay. Anthony, let me bust you now, right? This thing you are saying happened to me. Let me tell you, right? It happened to me. So I had a phone. Two of my phones just got like damaged, and one of them is not in warranty. The other one is in warranty, right? I went back to Vodafone, and luckily for me, because of the type of phone I use, I have 2 years warranty, right? And I'm on the last month of the warranty, so a few days to go. Do you know they have to give me a new phone? Because they couldn't repair the phone, and they gave me a higher phone because they don't do my phone that is 2 years old anymore.
Yes.
Now, that is not me abusing the system. That's genuinely an issue that I had. But I also know that there are people who pay insurances. Hold on. There are people who pay phone insurances, and towards the end of insurances or halfway, they go to Nigeria, dash their phone to their younger brother or younger sister, come back to the UK, declare it lost, collect a new phone. So
I agree.
people can be bad if they want to be bad. Hold on, let me come. Now, there are people who genuinely have phone insurance. They will not claim anything and they just repay it in jeje. So, yes, there is a policy problem, and yes, there is a people's problem.
The point I'm trying to make is Walmart and all these big companies knows. Of course, we know people that are going to abuse this thing, right? People who abuse it, but the number of people that are going to abuse this should be significantly lower to the number of people that won't. Once maybe 1 or 2%, but once it's clocking into 10%, it doesn't matter. The business will not function. Here's another example. There's a Nigerian guy, I don't remember his name, ever showed me this video. He posted a video online of a tanker that got into an accident. The people from the tanker were bleeding to death and lying on the floor. What did their fellow Nigerian people do? They were trying to go to the tank and take the fuel in the tank. So my point I'm trying to make is this: as somebody, maybe because I live in America, I have realized that big government is not really the solution. Oh, we are going to make you do this. The people themselves have to think for the greater good and say, okay, you know what? This is a good idea. We need to do this together. We need to do that together for our own better society. For the betterment of
Uche, do you want to say anything?
No. I'm listening to what he's saying.
What he's saying actually makes sense, right? It's like the people, I understand that, but
it's a people's policy problem for me.
Yeah, it's like because of the way we were trained, or because there are no policies or laws, right, enforcing these things exactly. The people act a certain way. We will blame me too. If we continue like this, we would never get better. If we continue with the way
my brother hosting the life, let me tell you something. Someone I've listened to you a few times. Someone like you is a very smart and bright person. Which country? Which state are you from?
I'm from Enugu.
Okay. If I make you, if something happen now, and I make you the governor or the president of Nigeria, with the way you're bright and mind thinks, right? The country is so bad that like the people around you will frustrate the fuck out of you because they realize, this guy wants to change the way we do things. So
agreed. But then you have to then go and look. Okay, I was thinking something the other day, right? I was thinking about a school like Oxford, right? Do you know that when COVID happened, all UK had to do was turn to Oxford and say, listen, Oxford, give us a medication for this, give us a vaccination for this. Do you know why they could easily do that? Because they know that's where the best of the best go to.
Yes.
In Nigeria, do we have that? If I ask you which is the best university now in Nigeria, probably some people will say UI, some people will say Unipen, some people will say UNN. But there was a time there was a distinction. You would know that if you go to UNN, you will see the best of the best. You will know that the professors there, do you understand? Every country places a value on their education and places a value on these kind of people. And then in those time of need, you go and select those few. But Nigeria now is so bad that everything is bastardized. Both professors, no profession has any value, so to speak. The bright ones have left the country. So if I come in as a president, who am I working with? Anthony is in America. Onyeka is in Canada. Uche is in UK. You call them to come back. If they decide to come, fine. If they don't want to come back, you are left with the leftovers there in Nigeria. So that's the problem. So yes, there's a people's problem, but constantly the Western powers are steady taking those best, this is their visa process. They make it very, very difficult and stringent because they want to get the best the most intelligent.
Again, my brother, I'm sorry, you're making the same mistake again. Let us leave blame. If you and I enter, we are trying to do business. It is in my, it's in my own best interest to look at what is important to me. It is your own best interest to look at what is important to you.
Anthony, read this comment. I want you to read it yourself.
Okay, the government says the president for people who follow the outcome, and that is, I'm sorry, that's bullshit. I can give you an example.
It's true.
Wait, let me give it again. This is
America is America because of American laws and American police and
hold on.
implementing those laws.
Okay, you mentioned America. I'm going to America. Let me tell you something. As long as nobody will take self-accountability, as long as it's that, is the government, nothing is going to change. You mentioned America, for example. Why did America revolt against Britain? Why did America came and said, man, these people are taxing us out of the wazoo. And we have told them to stop. They don't want to stop. You know what? Fuck them. We don't want them to be our colony again. They could have split and said, man, we cannot do anything. It's the government. It's the government that's... No, they said, fuck you. We're going to do our own thing. And you know what? We're going to learn from this and create our own system that is different. We see what the what do you call it? The king and the queen do. We don't do that all those kind of king and queen kingdom thing. Let's create our own government here. And they formed they sat down and locked themselves in the house, formed the constitution that we know today. So, my point is, if you sit here and be pointing fingers at the government, nothing will change. Nothing will change. When I see
Onyeka, what creates Anthony rather? What creates? Okay, you said the government comes from the people.
Let me give you another example.
But what changes the people? You need to. So I think what we're trying to say here is what changes what? Is it the people that changes the government, or is it the government that changes the people? You need to understand that part.
Here's one thing. I mentioned American Constitution as an example, but at the end of the day, it's just words written in a piece of paper. The group of people as a collective has to believe in that. The group of people has to believe in that. America did second election. Trump lost. What did he come out and say? I will not go anywhere. They rigged the election. I came in the news. People were saying, "Oh, will this man leave?" One guy came and said, "Listen, as a collective of Secret Service obeys the Constitution and the people. When that day come, that same group that is protecting him will drag him out of that White House. If it comes to that."
No, I respect what you are saying. You have a point, but you also have to see our point, Anthony. It's not 100% the people's problem.
Listen, your point is, it is 100% the people's problem. You know why? Because again, let me give you an example.
Okay, okay, Anthony, simple question. Give me a name of any country where there is no government and the people exist and do all these things you're saying lawfully because they want to.
You don't get what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is the government.
If you need a government, then there's a place for government.
Listen. I'm not saying you don't need a government. What I'm trying to say is the government are the reflection of the government. Don't fly, come down. Are not aliens like fall down from the sky. They're still plucked out of the same people, right? You can only if unless you want to live in a dictatorship, but you cannot rule your government through enforcement. So the people themselves have to realize amongst themselves, man. This is for
yeah, I agree, Anthony, because if governments come now, just like they come and say there is no spraying of the naira, that law have been there for long. The first time I heard the musician sing about naira was Mr. Roy in his first album. Do you understand? But at the end of the day, people still abuse the naira, right?
Yes.
Now, the reason why we have a wallet is to put our notes in there, but people will just pull it and put it in any plastic or put it in their bra or put it on very, very different places. Now, at the end of the day, it took the intervention of EFCC with two big examples for people to start knowing, okay, hold on, I'm not supposed to spray the naira. There's something called naira mutilation. So at the end of the day, you need to understand that if you leave human beings, they will always do what they want.
People will start adjusting now once you start penalizing them. Anthony,
penalizing, yes. When there's no consequence, people will do whatever they like.
Anthony, sorry, 1 second, Anthony. You said, Anthony, sorry. I understand totally where you're coming from, and I understand that you're saying if the people act right, the government or whoever the leaders that we choose will be like someone that is already acting right. But no, see it like this: if the government now, right now, because this is like you have a leader, and if this leader is working, is doing things right, oh, I don't do this kind of thing, I'm not like a extravagant kind of person, you would see that people would just start, moving towards these things, the certain characters that this leader portrays. But right now, I know Nigeria is messed up. Like from primary school, watching our parents do these things. So we have a lot to learn. I get that. But right now, the people we're looking up to now is just the government. And it's not hard, it's not different.
And that is your
Don't
biggest problem.
steal. Yeah, but
That is
how
your
would
biggest.
this
You're looking.
change
Hold on, hold on,
now?
hold on, hold on. That's the biggest problem. You're looking up to the government.
Maybe I'm using the wrong word, not looking up to, but just like if these people act right, imagine you having a boss now that doesn't steal. Will you steal?
Okay. Now, hold on. I get what you mean. But again, let me give you an example. Who's voting those people into power in the first place?
Yeah, this thing is true. You're right. It's the
No,
people, right?
Who's the people voting those?
no, Onyeka, Anthony has a point. I've actually done a live on it.
Yeah,
I've said it that why Nigerians leading church is because when people compare Nigeria to places like Japan or Singapore, you don't need to force an ordinary Japanese to tell him to do the right thing.
Yeah.
You don't need to preach it to him.
Okay,
He will do the right thing naturally.
Let's talk about
I understand that part. But okay, since we kukuma know, okay, let's put it this way. Since we kukuma know we are knucklehead. Since we kukuma know we don't like to obey. Since we kukuma know our leaders are corrupt. That's why, Anthony, did you see that private contractor, military contractor that said something about going back to colonize Africa again?
Yeah.
What was he saying? He said because African leaders are corrupt, spending money in France.
Govern ourselves.
So,
but see this comment. Not
is why I kept even there was a time I said let's go back to colonize because we are knucklehead.
People.
Obviously, not everybody voted for Trump. Not everybody voted. Even Putin that won election, not everybody voted for him. We are not going to make that argument. Listen, in life, sometimes you have to look inwards and do deeper self-reflection in your own problem. You can blame other people. Now, here you talked about Western. Would you say that colonization is part of our problem? It's a question I'm asking.
No, then let's not digress. Okay, let's come back to topic. Let's come back. Let's come back to topic. We're talking about fire safety. Okay. So let's not digress. Anthony, I'm going to put you this same question to you. What do you think is the main cause of fire in Nigeria?
Nigeria is a corrupt country. Listen, guys, I'm not trying to be funny, right?
You're cracking jokes now. If I am your teacher, you are getting a big zero. What do you mean?
I mentioned something when I first came in here.
But
the truth is blown.
But actually, that's the truth. But no, I will not take it. I am your teacher, and I'm giving you a zero. Whether it is vaguely correct.
This guy
like,
mean, this guy is
I remember something. There was this small boy. They told him that a boy had certain amount of money and he used it to buy. So how much is it got left? It's supposed to be zero. He said the boy is broke. That was so funny. That's the kind of answer Anthony gave me. He just ran away from the answer, but just embodied everything to corruption.
I never away from that.
Best practice. Jump off because hopefully I'll come back if I see you again on weekend. Nice to meet you all.
Listen, somebody smokes, drinks, does alcohol, somebody smokes, drinks, does alcohol, chases women, have unprotected, and then that person has a heart attack and die one day. And you ask me, what killed that person? And I'm telling you, it's an injustice if I say it's a heart attack. Heart attack was what eventually stopped him from living. But what are the little things he did that contributed to even having a heart attack in the first place? Right? Nigerians don't think about the future. They just think about now. What is going to put money in my pocket now? Fuck my neighbor and what if this thing concerns my neighbor. All I care about is what is going to put money in my pocket today. Forget tomorrow.
Integrity is not in their books at all.
No. Look at here's a good example. Another example from Ghana. I realized that Ghana people don't pack people like sardines inside mole apples. 3 people only sit I've never seen it in my life. Even when I'm traveling to village from on nature.
Nigeria, Ghana is how many million? Nigeria is triple there. Okay, maybe not triple. Yeah, triple their number.
My brother, but we're talking about safety,
Ghana
right?
is like 60 something million, if I'm not mistaken. Nigeria
okay, fair enough. America is bigger than America.
maybe
America is bigger than
double.
Nigeria. They don't do that.
Okay, you have a point.
So
You have a point.
the people.
Okay, but what of the train stations in China and India? They pack them like sardine. They push them in. Anyway, let's go back to the topic. I think you have a point, Anthony, because I was saying the last, one of my lives, I was saying that if you go to a pub, whether there is police or not, if their license says stop selling alcohol at 2, they will stop.
Oh my God!
That is the people's problem.
My brother, with all my beer, they see they ask me for ID if I enter.
Imagine.
With all my beer, they see they ask me.
So there is a people's. Genuinely, what you said is true, but Anthony, you also have to agree that there is a policy problem, which is the government. These two problems are what we are suffering in Nigeria. Because okay, Anthony, let me bust your head again. If a government official should come into a club, even if you like, let them say that you have to close by 4. They don't burn you when you say no good to sell alcohol to a governor. Not even them, they are picking. That is another problem. You see? So it's a people's problem, yes, but also a policy problem. So, first thing first, the way that they've made this one now sound about Naira, people will stop spraying Naira. There are people that will stop genuinely. They don't want to enter problem. But there are people that didn't know they are breaking laws before they will stop. But there are still some knuckleheads that will want to spray. Do you understand? That is in every society.
I disagree. You know why I disagree?
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, hello. So, best practice, what's your topic for today? Because I don't think you're talking about what you wrote on top of this.
It's Anthony that took us to this rabbit hole. We're talking about fire safety assessment. What do you think? What do you think is the major cause of fire in Nigeria, Jennifer?
This your fire, is it real life fire or the fire of the economy?
Real fire in Nigeria. There is so many fire. There is so many fire incidents in Nigeria. So, what do you think is the main cause? Quickly, because my time is running out.
Okay, so for me, first thing first, for real life fire, for me, I feel we need to. Every household will always have all these crises one way or the other.
What is the cause of most fires in Nigeria?
The cause of most fires is just lack of leaving things on, electricity and some certain things, being careless. Yeah, because at the end of the day, if everybody has that awareness or self-discipline, or there are some certain rules and regulation being brought into the system about all this, trust me, people will discipline themselves naturally, like big fines, if you do this, you do that, you pay this cost. Trust me, they'll focus. Do you get? They'll be like, okay, I'm leaving my house. Let me off everything because I know I'm going to pay, for instance, 1 million naira. Do you get? So all these things are policies that need to be set in place, because even if you want to say, okay, let's get a fire extinguisher and all that, place it in everybody's house, it will even make them more lazy because there's a solution. Do you understand?
But no, if for instance, in the house, but at place of work, there's need.
No,
it's not to make them lazy, but it is.
We have fire extinguisher in the house, though.
In your house?
No, I'm not. You're not understanding where I'm coming from, sir.
No,
okay, I know the fire extinguisher.
Really?
We don't have house.
Okay,
because
okay,
your house have the detectors and possibly the sprinklers.
Yeah, but,
and some fire systems can call the fire service directly. Oh, yeah. Say for example, if it's an office environment and it's out of hours, the system will dial the fire people directly. Yeah. Excuse me.
Okay, so the thing is this, where I'm saying laziness, I'm not saying it's not good to have fire extinguisher in your house, don't get me wrong, but I think when you do have that mindset that it is there, you become relaxed, you won't care about your electricity or some certain stuff. That is for the environment I'm in, because let's call a spade a spade. Not every Nigerians will appreciate what is called or know how to use fire extinguisher or know what is used for.
They don't even have to do
That's what
safety
I'm saying. There's supposed to be
and
multiple training
So,
centers. Government should fund for trainers to come and be training places. Have it in every state. Have these people tell all these banks, all these multinationals, all these businesses, they have to at least go for a training once in 2 months or once in a month to go and train. This thing's supposed to be serious.
yeah, of course.
now
Have
let me
fire
ask you guys a
registers in
question.
buildings.
Do you think that is actually working in your country called Nigeria? These things you just mentioned now, do you think that's going to work?
Do you know how many things that have worked in Nigeria?
Oh,
Do you
give
know
me.
they've enforced
I want to know.
BVN?
No,
They've enforced
wait.
NIN. They've enforced. Do you know how many things they've enforced in Nigeria? They
Best
can
practice.
enforce anything if they want to. This naira now, you
Okay,
said
best
stop
practice.
carrying naira.
Okay, best practice. Let me give Anthony, I'm going to say this, right? Some of the good things that happen in Nigeria don't get to social media. Let us not lie to
Give me an
ourselves.
example. I want to know.
Okay. Sometimes, right, we're always talking about, you guys are always talking about relationships. You see on bloggers, bad relationships and all. How many good relationships do we really celebrate on the streets of Instagram?
I mean, we're not talking about relationships here. We're talking about
No,
that's
but
a
I'm
different conversation.
using it as an example. I mean, what trends more on social media is bad news.
Nobody prays for bad
You
things. So we know that
Okay,
many houses
okay.
which have not
Give me
caught fire.
the good.
But we are saying,
Nobody
Give me the
really
good
focuses
policies.
on the good side
I
of
know.
the country
We're
anymore.
talking
They
about
always look at
policies
it
here.
like this is the bad
But we're
side.
talking about
no, Jennifer, listen, why we are having this conversation is not because we don't know that there are so many houses that are safe. But what we are saying is that no country prays to have any issue at all. We want Nigeria not to be having
No,
all
of
these fire
course.
occurrences. Do you understand? Because it is people's livelihood.
No,
A
kid,
plaza that just
I
got
know
burnt.
Anthony doesn't believe in Nigeria. I know. He has not been back home in years, so it's not a normal thing. He's my
Guys,
Are you
friend. I
sure
know that about
Anthony is
him.
Nigerian or Ghanaian? Because I'm looking at his complexion now. Since he mentioned Ghana, something is speaking to me. I'm hearing a voice. Speak, I can hear. Are you sure? Wait, where are you from, Anthony? Which state are you from?
I'm from Imo State. I'm from Olo.
Olo. Where in Olo?
Wangele local government. I was actually
Is anybody
born in
from Olo? Can you confirm if there is anyone in Olo? Anyone in the local government? Because I'm
Listen,
thinking Anthony is Ghanaian.
here's what you need to know. Nigerians don't really like it when you throw the truth at them, right?
No, Anthony, I agree to a level.
No,
There is people's
we're not
problem, but
against
there is
the
a
truth.
policy problem as
No, we're
well.
not against the truth.
Again,
Let me tell you, Anthony, what you don't. Let me tell you, Anthony, what you don't
policy we handed
understand.
an apple. Policy we
See,
Oh, yeah, there now,
Anthony.
but you have to use awareness, you have to use education, you have to use even incentives, you have to use force to implement policy. Everything does not mean that you have to call police in every matter. There are some matters that you have to use awareness.
Anthony,
Anthony, I want to say something. I want to say
if you
something,
drive in
right?
Nigeria without seatbelt, now you get pulled over, right? You know that.
Okay, but I want to portray on something. Anthony, the thing is this: you said Nigerians don't like to hear some things about the truth. Let me tell you, if you think we don't know ourselves, we know our country very well, to the extent that even skit makers are using it to make a joke out of it and make money out of it. As painful as that sounds, that's how we have even accepted the fact that that's how our country is. If you even give them that idea and say, your country is like this, it's going to be better, some of them are mixed feelings. So everybody knows about this, but I feel like we need to focus on solutions. I don't want us to be a country that is always complaining,
Bashing.
lamenting,
It would take time, but
bashing,
I think
talking negative
have a
every
solution. I have
time,
a solution.
and then at the end of the day, you are not looking at the good side of it. You're not looking at the solutions of it.
I have another
if you
solution.
want to, so what would you say like a solution? So like just first steps of making things like better. What would you say?
Nigeria should be recognized again.
Okay. No, honestly.
No. I'm not trying to be funny, yo.
Anthony,
No,
Anthony, I'll report you to Everest.
it might sound funny, but believe me, I think we got our independence too early. I don't know.
Okay.
I think
I
we got
have,
to start
let's
I've actually said we need colonization again.
It
I've
is.
actually
It might
said, forget
sound
that I'm
funny.
laughing.
It might
We're
sound
not
funny,
ready.
but yeah,
We are so
I think
no. The thing
intelligent, but
is,
we are so
the thing
dumb at the
is,
same time.
no. The
it is.
thing is, Nigerians like to do the blaming factor. We don't like to carry our cross very well and really,
No,
really
But I
like
think
own
Either,
up
I
to it
think
and
either
correct ourselves.
recolonization
We
or
like
Jennifer,
to
you're
do
not getting my
blaming
point.
game.
You're not getting my
No,
point.
guys,
but I get your
I
point
am
in
timing
another
out.
angle, Anthony.
I
Not
am timing
fully. I
out.
can't
We're
put
going to
every
stop.
Nigerian in a
Yeah,
box.
I am
Come on
timing
now. I
out.
can't put
Thank
every
you,
Nigerian in
everybody.
a
for
box.
change
Thank
or
you for
wanting to.
coming. My battery is low, and I'm preparing to go and watch Arsenal versus Bayern Munich.
All right.
I know I'm going to cry.
What should I have? Open Nigeria and I could go watch it Arsenal Bayern Munich. Can you
Anthony,
imagine?
no life. I will come to your life. My battery is dead. I beg.
All
Thank
right.
you, everybody. Bye bye.